What happens when a person becomes so obsessed they unravel? When they commit an heinous act that becomes unforgivable? When all lines are blurred and all lines are crossed, they become uncivil. When hate emerges to darkness and enrages their soul, they become unhinged. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva and knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris, and also represent my ladies only channel, Mocha's Ladies Lounge. Hope everybody's doing good. We made it to Friday. Thought it was very imperative that I did an unhinged episode. It's been a while since I delivered. So anyway, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Make sure y'all hit that like button. I would definitely appreciate that. Big ups to everybody in the chat. Big ups to the Mocha's Mod Squad for all of those who are holding it down with the wrench. I appreciate your services. For all Mocha members, I appreciate y'all for tithing $3 a month faithfully to the congregation. So we're going to do this particular series on a beautiful young lady by the name of Sheldon Nealy. I ran upon a story and I thought it was very, very disheartening because it's one of those unfortunate situations that, unfortunately, a lot of women, particularly black women, tend to fall in this alignment. And it's not that we are the only ones, but we have the higher percentage when it comes to choosing men that have a criminal career background. And it's unfortunate that a lot of us don't pay attention to the red signs, and in many instances it can cost you your peace of mind, it can cost you money, it can cost you your sanity, but most importantly it could possibly cost you your life. So this story is coming out of Hoffman, North Carolina. We have this nurse and business graduate by the name of Kanisha Harris. I would rather call her Harris than Nealy, being that unfortunately she was unalived by her current husband at that time, Mr. Nealy. But out of respect for her no longer being here, I don't want to acknowledge her as Mrs. Nealy. So nevertheless, Kanisha is a 38-year-old native, North Carolina native from Hoffman, North Carolina, which is a pretty small town. It doesn't have a high population. You know, everybody knows everybody. Everybody graduated from the same school, went to the same church, and pretty much it's just one of them small towns where, you know, everybody's pretty much familiar with everyone, right? So nevertheless, Kanisha, you know, is a mother of 3, and she was 38 at the time, and she graduated in business administration from Capella University. And she was also a CNA. And at this time of her life, y'all, she was definitely financially well off. She was really doing good, you know, just her and her children. And she was basically on her way. You know, she had just closed in on a new home. She had purchased a new car. She just started a new job, and also she just had received her license as a bail bondsman, right? So things were pretty much really looking up for her. She was really in a good space. However, though, you know, even with all her success and everything she accomplished, Kanisha still felt like there was a significant part of her that just was empty and incomplete. And that is when she met my man's here, going by the name of Mr. Sheldon Nealy, which I'm going to show you a little bit more. So this is her Facebook page, all right? And as you can see, you know, she was very much in love with him, right? You're going to see a lot of photos of him or her together. Basically her praising him for being such a wonderful father, being such a wonderful man. That's not him, y'all, by the way. Just basically giving him all these praises and accolades like he was the best thing that ever happened to her, right? But there was some underlying issues that Kanisha was not very, transparent about. Or put it this way, she was very oblivious or naive to what type of man she was really dealing with. But the first major red flag, y'all, is that Sheldon had reached out to Kanisha from prison, okay? Now keep in mind, a lot of these prisons, these inmates, they have access to social media, okay? They have access to Facebook, YouTube, all of those wonderful things, right? So it does not take much for one of these inmates, to run across your page and DM you. And that's exactly what Sheldon did. So Sheldon had reached out to Kanisha. So keep in mind, Kanisha was already a mother of 2 at the time before they had their third together. So she was still suffering from abandonment issues from when her children's father walked away and pretty much left her, having to tote the bag, having her to carry the majority of the responsibility. So Kanisha wanted more than anything to make up for that by having a husband that was going to play the role of also not just being a husband, but also being a family man, right? So she really had her heart desired on that. And unfortunately, Sheldon pretty much knew that, and he capitalized off of it, because you have to realize the inmates, they're very smart. They all know how to hold a conversation with you, and they can smell you out. They can smell and kind of figure if you really want a family, if you're really lonely. They got all day, they got all the time in the world. And that's basically what he did. After months and months of DMing and talking and holding conversation, things pretty much got heavy, things got serious. And yes, Kanisha did indeed make the decision to marry Sheldon while he was incarcerated. Now keep in mind, Sheldon has an extensive criminal record, right? And we're going to go into all that wonderful stuff. So I'm just going to play a few snippets, and as you can see, the ending of this is not a pleasant one. But I wanted to basically go into all of the things that led up to this point before this beautiful mother of 3 life was taken unnecessarily at the hands of a career criminal, right? So, getting into it. I'm going to play a little bit here and there. Not much. I'm going to be doing a lot of interjecting. These channels are very picky and icky, and, they'll find any little reason to block you from being able to share their material. So I'm going to try to share as less as possible, basically.
Sheldon Nealy, age 38, a mother of 3 who decided to marry a convicted felon while he was still in jail serving 12 years, but ended up being killed by the same guy after she moved him into his house with her young kids when he got out of prison.
Okay, so I wanted to pause there, right? So just to give y'all a real strong incentive as to what kind of criminal history this guy had before she trusted to open her home and her heart to this dude, right? So looking at his criminal record, this man has a record, like longer than a freaking graveyard, okay? So of course he's not active currently in the system because he's too has since passed away, and I will go into that later on as we get towards the end of this series, right? So this is the man, y'all, and this is why, ladies, y'all need to take heed if you decide to get involved with a man that has a criminal history. So this is him. Trust me, I did my research. There's no other Nealy. His middle name is Morris, and this is his age. So even though the picture is not there, trust when I say this is him, right? So As you can see, Nealy, Mr. Nealy, has an extensive history of incarceration. He had did 17 years, 7 months, different correctional institutions. So we're going to try to just go into most of the offenses. That way y'all can get a general idea of his personality and what kind of person he is. So let's get down to the actual charges. He did robbery with a dangerous weapon. This was in 2003. Possession of firearm. This was in 2002. Possession of scheduled substance. Also 2002, right? He has other offenses. Driving, okay, that's misdemeanor. I'm not worried about that. Possession of Schedule 2 substances, felony. Assaulted someone. That was back in 1997. So both of these offenses are in 1997. I'm not worried about the small misdemeanor stuff. Okay, this is a drug charge, felon. I ain't worried about that. Damage to property, misdemeanor, but he damaged or caused destructions to somebody. Okay, and at the time he was a juvenile, looks like it. Yeah, so he was a juvenile delinquent. So this tells you this man has had a criminal history since he's been a child, in and out of the system, right? Anyway, damage to property again, mostly drug charges, but yeah. But the main offense, right, as to why he had got all of those years is the robbery with dangerous weapon and possession by firearm by felon. So obviously there is some major issues with Sheldon that I don't think Kanisha really wanted to be transparent about. But basically what Kanisha tried to do was she tried to build this family, after abandonment issues with the father of her 2 children. And being that she had all of this success, this is one of the curses of being a woman. Once we think we have arrived, we got our business, we got a home, we got a car, we just can't learn to enjoy them things on our own, right? We have to bring a ninja into the equation. And that's what she did, right? So she brought Sheldon in, and we're going to continue to watch some of the video that gives more information as to when they decided to jump the room, and and how many years he did his incarceration. But again, I have to do a lot of interjection, so we're going to play it just a little bit more.
Kanisha told her friends and family that she had met the best man in the world after she married him in prison.
Which was a fatal mistake. Never, ever marry a man in prison, especially one who you don't know, who you have absolutely no history. Believe it or not, I've seen 1 or 2 women do it, and their marriage turned out very successful. But these were men they already knew and had a history with. Just made a bad choice, just being reckless and not really career criminals. Just is the difference between a career criminal. Career criminal is a habitual offender. In this case is we're talking about men who probably had just being rebellious, going through that season in their life in which they have no respect or regards for the law. But with Mr. Nealy, this man had a whole different lifestyle. This man had been in and out of jail the majority of his life, ever since he was a youth. So that's where it differs. And the thing is, Kanisha knew absolutely nothing about him. She met him while he was in prison. So that was the first red flag.
Thank you. Robberies and assault.
Play some of that back. I just didn't want to play that music.
Numerous criminal convictions, including robberies and assault. She praised him as the best husband ever, but at the end of the day, he waited till the time was right and he killed her after spending a decent amount of time with her.
So as you're going to see, this story is definitely going to unfold into a very tragic ending. But I want to pause right here because I have access to her actual Facebook page, and we're going to go through all of those things. But this just goes to show you how head over heels in love she was with this man. There's absolutely not another man in this world that can love me like you. You still give me butterflies after almost 2 years and headaches, but you'll never have to question my loyalty. Regardless how hard it is to love you, I won't give up. Did y'all peep that and read in between the lines? Regardless how hard it is to love you, I won't give up. And this is the problem as women. We think we have the ability and the strength to change broken men, and you find out in the long run that what ends up happening when you try to fix a broken man, he ends up breaking you. And that's exactly, unfortunately, what happened, right? So I want to pause and go into her Facebook page, right? So it gets more interesting because not only she married him, but she ended up having a baby from him. But that's going to be discussed a little bit more later on too, as we go into this, right? But as you can see here, I used to get mad at this, but I no longer do. They know mama going to step in Moses' chest most. That's Mr. Nealy's Facebook page. She's just under a different name, and we're going to go to his page back and forth too. But that's who she's referring to, is Mr. Nealy. So basically, they know mama gonna step and Moses too, and my side is always there, and my friends too. I appreciate those who show genuine love for them. Forget a title, because the titles don't even check on them. So this is another red flag. You know, when you're really bitter with another man that has failed you, what tends to happen is you will go all out your way to try to compensate for that. And I believe that is what Kanisha did. And you never ever want to jump into a relationship just to prove out of spite to a baby daddy that failed you, to an ex-husband that failed you. You never want to run to the next opportunity. You want to give it some time, because when you are still hurting and you have not completely healed, it's easy to fall into that entrapment and be fooled and manipulated into a man you think has your best interest. So the way she's going in, I can tell she's basically shading her children's father who abandoned her. And I think that is the reason she was overjoyed and so excited into rushing into a relationship with this man. But we're going to go ahead and play another part of that.
Hello and welcome to Twisted.
Okay, so like I said, she's from North Carolina, Huffman, which is a small town.
The national average.
Hi, you guys. My name is Kanesha Harrison, and I applied for a $20,000 scholarship. And one of the questions on the scholarship was, who most influenced you? And the person I chose that mostly influenced me was my mother, of course.
So, as you can see, she had great things going for her. She had put in for a scholarship. She had a very loving family. She had everything she needed. But this is what happens when desperation starts to set in for us as women. When you start really yearning for a relationship, you still feel incomplete. You can have a good family, you can have a beautiful home, you can have all the college degrees, more degrees than a thermometer. But if you are not feeling worthy of yourself, you're not going to feel complete until you find a man, as the saying, as Betty Wright, a piece of man is better than no man at all. And I really think Kanisha, again, suffered with abandonment issues, and she wanted so badly to have that family that she was seeking. So this is pictures of them together.
Healthcare management at Capella University. Kanisha closed a house, bought a new car, had a full-time job, has a small business, and also just got a license to become a bail.
So she was already on her way up, y'all, already.
For 2 kids just abandoned her to take care of the kids, so she was very excited when a man by the name of Sheldon Nealy, age 46, contacted her.
Okay, so again, he reached out to her, DM'd her while he was in prison. Now keep in mind, Kanisha was already in a very vulnerable space in her life, having to pull all of these strings to become successful so her and her children don't struggle and don't want for anything. But again, the missing link was not having a man. So that is why it did not take much for Sheldon, unfortunately, to be able to, butter himself up into, encountering her. It didn't take much to butter her up because she was already seeking and in need of a male companion. And that's what happened.
Chicks be like, oh, he with her? And he is. Been with me, still with me, tatted me, forever we. Finna come get me. You can't sleep at night.
Okay, so I want to pause the brakes here. Again, I can read in between the lines. I think a lot of this has to do with because that last dude fumbled on her, he folded on her, abandoned her. She wanted so badly to prove, not only to the man who jumped ship on her, but she wanted to prove to the world that I'm good now. I have someone who cares about me. I have someone that wants to build with me. I have someone that actually wants a family. So this is the reason why she was doing all of this bragging, and no disrespect to her. We're just psychologically doing some analyzation here, an assessment, okay? So this is not to disrespect her or demean her in any shape or form, but I want women to psychologically understand her mindset is that this was her aha moment. Aha, I got somebody who wants me, who loves me, who values me. This is her moment where she feels like she has arrived. What woman has not gotten to that point to where you finally meet a man who fits all the criteria of what you are looking for in a man? So you think at that time, so she's thinking she's arrived. I got the love of my life. But it gets interesting.
This was not a regular message. It was from someone who was from behind bars. He was in prison serving 12 years at the time. The catch was that Sheldon was a career criminal.
He was. We're talking about a man, 12 years of criminal history. 12 years.
Was behind bars from convictions in 2010 of assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill inflicting serious injury and assault with a deadly weapon inflicting serious injury in Moore County.
So this is, again, major red flags. And if you're not aware, if for any women, if you are interested for whatever reason in dating a man and dating an inmate who is currently incarcerated, whatever state you are in, all you have to simply do is put in that state and put in Department of Corrections. For instance, if you meet a man in California and he's an inmate, you could always find out his last name, first name, put in California Department of Corrections. Put in the state Department of Corrections. Look up that man's record. Don't let them make you believe the charges that they tell you about. Investigate and look into the charges yourself, just to be sure.
Sheldon also served 2.5 years behind bars when he was convicted of robbery with a dangerous weapon, possession of a firearm by a felon, and possession of a Schedule II controlled substance. He had been in prison severally. Kanisha was excited when she got message on Facebook from Sheldon. She was super excited even though he was in prison at the time, and
because at this point in time desperation has set in. Okay, and she was just so excited off the fact that there was a man who was interested in her. I really don't think she really could care less at that point about his history and what he did and what he was. I just think at that point in time, the fact that he even showed interest was enough to make her just, jump ship without really giving it much thought.
he had an extended criminal record. As smart as Kanisha is, she didn't think twice.
And she absolutely didn't. She got here. He told me I threatened him to do right. He hit me on Facebook like, let me take you out, knowing dang on well he was incarcerated. He took me out over FaceTime, sent the money, and everything. Those days became our moments. I knew he was my person when he made sure me and the girls were straight from behind that fence. Everybody know I have a little hood nigga. He made me move different. Next time I know he was like, write the superintendent so we could get married. I waited. He mentioned it again. So I knew he was serious. I wrote, he wrote, and we took to learn each other. Every day hasn't been peachy. It's hard trying to show someone that's been locked up for centuries you're the HBIC. But day by day, he lets his guard down. That's my guy. No man has genuinely loved me like Moses. And for that, regardless of what we go through, I'll remain faithful and loyal. Love after lockup. With all due respect, just listening to this post, it says a lot about her mindset. She sounds like a high school girl who just found love for the first time. And like I said, with all due respect, none of us are perfect. We all got flaws. But it just goes to show you, right? Even the most successful, smart, intelligent women, sometimes when it comes to men, that is when all their common sense go out the door. Listen, y'all, I have a sister-in-law, right? You have some women that they have all the sense in the world, but they are very dick dumb, okay? Not victim, dick dumb, okay? Meaning they volunteer and sign up to be with these type of dudes, right? So I have a son-in-law. I have a sister-in-law. She does really well until... Now, I don't know if y'all know anybody like that. Maybe y'all got a sister, a female cousin. Maybe y'all own mother. Listen, I know grown women who do good as long as they don't have a man. They money gets stacked up. You know, they have a nice car, nice houses. It seems like they really getting their stuff together. And here comes Johnny come lately. Here comes Bill the Bum Barry. You know, here comes Poverty Pookie, who just comes out a thin blue air, and she starts kicking it with this guy, acting like she been knowing him for years. She's bringing him to the cookouts. She's bringing him to the family reunion. She bragging about him, the family and friends. And next thing you notice, dude drains her and takes her for everything she has. And she's back to square one. You just have some sisters out there, and when I say sisters, I'm talking about women of all colors. They are straight dictum. Once a man comes into their life, they don't hold nothing down. They lose all their discretion, all their protection, and just anything goes. They will move a man in their house after only knowing them for a couple of weeks. Will allow their children to become acquainted with these type of dudes. It just amazes me how, you know, when a woman gets to that broken place to where she's willing, you know, to put her livelihood in jeopardy just to say she has somebody. Now, if you're listening to this does not sound like a woman that has a lot of discernment or good discretion. And I'm not knocking her. It's many women out here like this, right? And we could all take the situation and learn from it instead of being judgmental and bashing. But for real, this concerns me. How she's, you know, kickling and grinning like a little high school girl. He hit me on Facebook like, let me take you out, knowing dang on well he was incarcerated. I wouldn't be proud of posting this on Facebook. Okay? She was so giddy and excited and having a man, putting everything out there, you know, like it sounds right. You know, that's not something to be proud of. I mean, if you're going to deal with a guy on this level, you better deal with him discreetly and make sure that you've been with him for a while, you know, before you really start giving him all these praise and accolades. She was excited that they were dating on FaceTime and he was sending her money from the jail so she could go out to eat. That meant something to her. That's why I tell women, do not deal with men when you are broken, when you are healing. Because any little thing they do for you will excite you. It will mean the world to you because you are still broken and healing. Do not get involved with a man during your healing phase or during your broken phase. Because you're very vulnerable, right? She further goes, he made sure me and my kids were straight from the gate. You know, I guess from jail, he's making things happen, you know. And basically how they've been writing each other back and forth, you know what I mean? Day by day, I guess initially he started off being a little complicated or challenging, but over time, she says how he started bringing his guard down and genuinely began to love her. And again, this is just my opinion. I think this stems from the fact that last dude failed her. And she wants to show him, okay, I'm in a great place. I'm doing good. I got me somebody who cares about me. A lot of women make the fatal mistake of getting over one man by getting up under another. Major red flag, right?
Jumped on the offer. Weeks into talking on the phone and texting, Kanisha agreed to marry Sheldon while in prison.
I am on to see my husband.
Now, I'm not going to play that because, you know, when you got playing somebody else's audio or whatever. But, again, she was just this excited. She married him and posted it, announced it, like it was the best thing in the world. She was excited about marrying a convict. Not only, you know, is she excited, she's posting it. She's sharing it with everybody like this is a sure thing for her. Turn the volume down. Okay. Let's see.
This. In a few weeks I'll be marrying my...
So she says, in a few weeks, I'll be marrying my best friend. The love we have for each other keeps me focused. You encourage me. You're my medicine and my safe haven. I still get butterflies. I'll always have your back. Now, how many of us know women who do this, right? Soon as they get in a relationship, they start praising these men like they the best thing since sliced bread. The last relationship, they ain't even been out the last relationship long enough for 5-minute rice to finish cooking. And already, because again, when a woman has not healed and she is still bitter or angry about a past relationship, she wants to, what tends to happen is she will put the next man on a pedestal so high because she wants to prove that you can't keep a good woman down. I'm still pushing, I'm still moving, I'm still growing. So this is basically all about trying to vindicate or retaliate and prove, look at me. Anytime a woman is constantly posting every move she's making with her next man, that speaks volumes. That's to her so on quote unquote haters, people she feel like never wanted her to be happy, her exes who she felt like never thought she would do any better. That's what this boils down to. This is where all this extra posting and bragging and doing the most is coming from. And again, no disrespect, this is just her personality, and a lot of women have done this, and in the long run they end up having to swallow and bite the bullet that they put out there after these men that embarrassed them or shamed them.
My best friend, the love we have for each other keeps...
So she got here, it's already been 30 days and I married my soulmate. This is the reel that she posted. Basically showing when they married at the prison. You can tell this is the prison, and you can tell they actually had got married at the institution. And here it is, she's showing her ring, y'all, and they booed up together, and here they are. And I guess around this time, this is when he got out. And also in this particular video, y'all, he's bonded with her children. She's gotten them, used to being around him. See how he's bonding with her daughter? This is some scary stuff, y'all, but it happens every day. Who would have known this would be the very man that would be the cause of their mother's demise? Now, this is the hotel in which they made reservations, I guess around the time, during their wedding or during, I don't know, honeymoon or something like that. But yeah, this is his birthday, so you can tell she's always tried to go all out her way for him and make them happy. Now, interesting enough, if y'all are familiar with the singer Shawniece, I don't know how, but she got a hold of Shawniece and has Shawniece sing a "Loving You Happy Birthday" song to him. So big ups to Shawniece. I don't know how she was able to get Shawniece to pull it off, but yes, but I don't want to play that due to copyright, so I'm gonna keep it moving on that. Okay, and this is here when she's buying the
How do you know? It ain't my birthday, it's my birthday.
On Father's Day, she praised him so much. Her message read,
Okay, and this is the message. Happy Father's Day to our protector. Thanks for helping out with these girls and showing them the fatherly love they deserve. You're definitely not the stepdaddy. You're the step-up daddy. We appreciate you and love you. Are y'all reading in between the lines? Can y'all not tell she made a choice? She made a choice based off of the last man failing her. Because she is praising and worshiping this man. Constantly letting it be known that he's the step-up daddy. All of this because the last man failed her and she never got past it. But we're going to keep it moving. Now this is where, they have a spa date together. Here it is. She's spoiling him. Showing him a wonderful time. All booed up. And again, all of this comes from the mere fact that the last relationship, she felt that she was failed in that. And that's why she gravitated so quickly and strongly in this one. They say you don't have to tell the world you're happy. It will always speak for itself. Coming up on 6 months of marriage, we still. So again, she's gloating. She's basking in the ambience. It's only been 6 months, okay? It hasn't been a couple of years. It hasn't even been a year yet. Okay, other posts. There's absolutely not another man in this world that can love me like you. You still give me butterflies almost 2 years ahead. Okay, I think we read this one before, but as you can see, she has a history of constantly praising him. And I'm gonna be honest, y'all. This is a pattern. In many instances, when these women come on social media, constantly bragging about these men, it's always the most tragic endings. I have another Unhinged that I'm going to be doing for y'all in the same similar situation with the woman who was constantly bragging on everything she was doing for him, how much she loved him, and he ultimately ended up taking her life. But that's another story for another time.
I was your best friend. I want you to know all the time.
Cause she messed my phone, y'all.
Could I be your best friend? If you'll promise you'll be mine.
She was ready to give him everything in the world, even though some people within her circle was not happy with her actions.
Because they knew, and he looked crazy. Look at him. Because they knew she did not know that man from Adam. But this boils down to, I'm going to get over that heartbreak one way or the other. And I don't care who approves of it or not.
They believed she had lost her mind. Everything about her life revolved around him.
And we know why. Like I said, it has everything to do with the fact that she got abandoned from the father of her 2 children. Now, let me see if I can go to the TikTok and play this as well. Because I don't want to play too much from the YouTube.
Not too long after all this, she surprised her friends and family that they were expecting a new child. She had his child and she was happy, and he seemed happy too.
So, again, making a lot of major responsibilities with him and still not really knowing him that well. She moved him into the house. She got her children attached to him. Now she's having a child from him. Now this is when things start to go a little left. Okay? This is when the red flags really start standing out. Okay?
Things started going south when he started posting guns and cryptic messages on social media. In December 2023, Sheldon got drunk and started to argue with her and hit her several times in the face.
So, a criminal can only hide his criminal characteristics for but so long. I don't care how much they start off as a gentleman, how sweet they talk to you behind those prison walls. When y'all actually are together and you living up under the same roof, you're going to start seeing a lot of his criminal, demonic ways slowly but surely start creeping out. Okay, so now at this point in time, Sheldon is revealing his real self. Even more so now because they're married and they have had a child together. So he feels even more comfortable at this point in time to really show Kanisha who he really was. Not only that, he knew how much Kanisha loved him and adored him. And one thing about, you know, these jailbirds, you know, these criminal clowns, they capitalize off of that. They do the same thing with officers. They do the same thing with anybody who comes in close contact. They know how to work on that charm and be manipulative. And as soon as you let your guard down, now you start seeing the real monster for what it is.
She was able to get to a handgun and the two allegedly wrestled over the gun. She shot him in the leg. Police arrived and took Sheldon to the hospital and then county jail after his treatment. She was able to get his bail perfected and bond him out.
Whenever it gets to a point where you have to shoot at a guy, you shoot at a man or fight a man, it gets physical, it darn near gets in a place to where somebody could have been become unalive or someone ends up severely injured. This was another major red flag. If nothing else proved her, if nothing else stood out, this should have definitely stood out. She should have definitely ran from the hills when it got to the point she had to pull a weapon out on this man. Not only did she pull a weapon out and shoot at him, she turned around and bonded him out of jail. The relationship is already going into toxicity. And again, this boils back to she does not want to lose a man again. She does not want to lose a relationship. She does not want to go back to that place into which she is alone and raising children. 3 now, before it was 2. But now it's 3 children. So she's going to fight to hold on to this man no matter what.
Sometimes things don't go as planned. So you mean to tell me you're going to hold that against me because I love you and I want this moment to be special?
This is not love. This is hate.
She just said, now you paying attention to the gaslighting. So you mean to tell me you're going to hold this against me over this mistake, even though I love you? And she jokingly said, but you got to read in between the lines, this is not love, this is hate. In other words, dude is toxic as fuck, okay? He been fighting her, been strangling her, been putting hands, been putting the paws. That's why she felt it was necessary to pull that gun out. This man been putting his hands on her. He been physically abusive towards her. That's why she just said, this not love, this is hate. She said it jokingly, but you have to read in between the lines. It's a lot of toxicity. This man is verbally, emotionally, and physically abusive. And that is what abusers do. They gaslight. And that's what he's doing. No, I love you. You know you mean everything to me. All of that to keep you at bay. But at the same token, they want you to stay with them so they can continue to keep destroying you.
No, stop recording me.
I'm not recording you, girl.
She took him back like nothing happened, and they got back to living their delusional fairy tale life. Fast forward to August 4th, 2024. The RCSO said that deputies were dispatched.
So, at this point, this is what happens when you keep going back and going back and going back into a toxic situation. Eventually, it gets worse. Okay? It escalates. It doesn't get any better. It does not stop. Once a person has become accustomed to putting their hands on you, now this is not a mishap. This is this person's character. And the fact that you're willing to stay after being in this situation for several years at a time, this person is showing you this is who I am. And you're not going to be able to change that person for who they are. It's just going to continue to escalate, and in this case, it definitely did that.
To a home on McCoy Drive in Hoffman the morning of August 4th in response to a possible domestic dispute, and
that was this year, y'all, August of 2024. So all of this recently just happened a few months back, FYI, in case you did not know.
Shots fired. While clearing the home, deputies reportedly encountered a locked bedroom door and heard a gunshot from the room when they attempted to breach the door. Inside, they found the bodies of Sheldon and Kanisha.
So basically, this became a murder-suicide, y'all. He was not man enough to deal with the consequences after he unalived this woman. So he ultimately turned around and unalived himself. And there goes the neighborhood with that, right? So I want to try to... because again, I don't want to play too much of somebody else's content.
Fact that he was released from prison in November 2022, and his parole ended June 9, 2023, after spending more than a decade behind bars from convictions in 2010 of assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill and...
You can't change a criminal. Very rarely do these guys come out into the world, reintegrate back into society with the new mindset. In many instances, it gets worse. So it's definitely a catch-22 in the event you decide to get involved with a man
who just took advantage of Kanisha, who was desperate to find love. She thought he was a changed man. Unfortunately, she was killed by the man he married in prison, who she showered with love.
Exactly, that's what it was. She fell in love with a criminal. She didn't fall in love with a man, she fell in love with a criminal. A man who was bound to sabotage because there was no reason for him to unalive her. He was getting everything he needed. They had a family, they had a home, they had beautiful children. There was no reason, but this is what happens when you're dealing with a criminal. A criminal cannot handle peace too long. They cannot handle happiness too long. That's abnormal for a criminal. You got to realize this guy been in and out of jail the majority of his life. He's used to chaos. He's used to trouble. He's used to things going wrong. He's used to this. So when a woman tried to introduce him to peace, and that's what Kanisha did, he indeed ended up breaking her into pieces. This is what happens when you pick up a man, or a woman for that matter, who comes from chaos, who has a character of chaos, in which there's just so used to being within environments in which there's always chaos and conflict. What'll happen is you try to introduce them to your peace. What happens? They end up breaking you into pieces, and that's exactly what he did.
Gifts, affections, and anything she could lay her hands on. It's sad that there are 3 young girls out there without a mother after this tragic incident.
And it really, really is. Because those girls are going to need psychological help. How is it the man that you learn to love as your bonus dad is the man who ended up unaliving your mother? And the thing about it is both of them are not here anymore. So these little girls will never get the real closure that they need. They would never understand. And the truth is, even if he were here to explain it, it still would not give them any relief. The man just was institutionalized. He could never get away from that life of being a criminal. Even though he left the jail, no, he left the prison, that prison mentality did not leave him. I know several women who have done this. Pick up men from prison with a prison mindset. It's one thing to be released from prison, but it's another thing to be released from that prison mindset. And that's what, unfortunately, Kanisha was up against.
He tricked her into having another child. He then did this terrible thing to her and her kids. What a monster he is. Our sincere condolences.
Definitely condolences to Sheldon Nealy. I have her obituary here. And y'all, like I said, she passed August of 2024. This is a very sad situation. She was only 38 years old. She had left behind 3 beautiful children. She left behind, I believe, her mom. So she had a large family. It's a very unfortunate situation, but ladies, this is what happens when we allow desperation to get the best of us. Because you want that family, you want to be loved, and guess what? Every opportunity ain't meant to be taken, right? Just because you're down and out on your luck, and you're going through a moment. Oh, this is a different Amanda. She's pretty too, but you're going through a moment in life in which, you know, things aren't really going your way. You know, even with all your success, you have that missing component, that missing piece, and it's by nature for women to desire to want a relationship. You know, you have a lot of women who walk around here and try to act like, I don't need no man, I don't need nobody, I'm good, we good, I have everything I need. But you have to realize it's in our nature. God put Adam here before Eve. So it's not like we were naturally designed to want to be alone. You know, and this is not to say that a woman can't handle being alone, but by nature, if a woman wants to be with a man, she should not get attacked for that. She should not get, you know, brutalized for that. And like I said, nobody's harder on women more than women. Girl, you can do good by yourself. You don't need no man. You don't need nobody. This woman obviously did not feel that way. You know, she had abandonment issues, had to create this life so her and her children would not struggle and suffer. But where she went wrong was she allowed desperation to overrule discernment. That is where she went wrong. It was nothing wrong with her wanting a man, wanting to be married. I think most women should opt for marriage versus putting themselves out here and giving themselves sexually, physically, and emotionally to men who will never really give them that commitment that they're looking for. So she had the right idea, but she had it with the wrong man. So my heart definitely goes out to Kanesha Nealy and her family. Well, Kanesha Harris. When she was married to him, she was Sheldon Nealy. But definitely give my regards. I give my deepest sympathy to Kanesha and her family. Definitely, y'all, keep those 3 daughters of hers in prayer. Ask God to give them strength to balance them, you know, to still be able to become healthy, wholesome minded young women, because this can really take a toll. And you got to realize the last baby she had was from him. So you can only imagine when that little girl finds out that that was biologically her dad that did that to her mom. But we shall continue, y'all. Y'all know I got some more Unhinged episodes coming up. Make sure y'all hit that like button, please, before y'all leave, before y'all exit the congregation. Also, I'm going to be doing a lot of Unhinged. In case y'all not aware, I am currently certified as a domestic violence intervention professional, which means men that are that have been committing offenses, domestic violence offenses, in which they were arrested or incarcerated. They actually have to come through my program in the state of Georgia. So my aim is to mentally deal with men who who have issues with not knowing how to communicate or deal with their anger and their aggression without having to use domestic violence. Not only will I be dealing with men, I'm also dealing with women who have it's called intimate violence partnership, in which women who also have an issue with not putting their hands on their significant others. So basically, I'm going to be dealing with men and women who don't have healthier ways of dealing with their anger and dealing with their companion without utilizing violence. If you are court ordered, if you are court mandated by a judge to take domestic violence classes, and you are in the state of Georgia, you can take your classes through me. Okay? So, not only that, I'm also certified in anger management. That's why I've not been uploading like that, because I had to get certified. All right? So, had to put a lot of time into that, okay? And it took a lot of months and a lot of time for me to start my own agency, but I'm excited about this journey. But most importantly, I'm excited about men and women having healthier relationships with a significant other. So if you're in the state of Georgia and you are court mandated to take anger management or domestic violence, you can email me and we will personally be doing live sessions, no pre-recorded, and you're going to be in classes, virtual classes with other individuals who also have committed the same or similar offense. Also, if you are not in the state of Georgia and you are interested in taking my domestic violence class or anger management, ask your judge or your probation officer if you can take certified anger management through intervention professional from the state of Georgia. Okay, some jurisdictions, because they don't have enough of people within that area, especially small towns like that, need to take domestic violence classes or anger management. Sometimes you have to go a couple of counties over. So if your judge, your probation officer says it's okay for you to take your anger management or domestic violence with me, even though I'm in the state of Georgia, I'll be more than welcome to bring you in on board, okay? And I'll discuss the prices and all of the details with you regarding that, and then you can decide if you want to get your certification, your anger management certification or domestic violence training, whatever, with me. So anyway, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. It's your Diva in Knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris and Mocha's Ladies Lounge, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Y'all take care. Have a wonderful weekend. Unhinged.